Okay, in theory, we're now live. So good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us for the first of this year's investor matching sessions for Buying Platform. If just before we jump into the pitches themselves and the presentation of the funds that are with us today, I'd just like to quickly explain what Buying Platform is for those that don't know it and how we're going to run the session today. So Buying Platform is a corporate innovation acceleration program that works with proof of concepts, paid proof of concepts for startups. So basically there's a curated list of startups that are presented to the corporate partners at Bind. The corporate partners then decide what startups they want to work with during the acceleration program, and then they start launching the proof of concepts. This is obviously great for the corporates because it gives them direct access to a whole number of curated innovation projects. It's great for the startups because it gives them access to paying clients, and obviously proof of concepts is very important in particularly deep tech projects. And it's great for the investors because it shows that there's a commercial and technical validation of the startup solutions before they even have to invest. So in terms of if you are a deep tech startup, or you are indeed a potential corporate partner, it's worth getting in touch with the team at Bind for next year's acceleration program. So in terms of today's event, this is the first of 5 investor matching sessions that we'll be doing between now and the end of June. The format is quite simple. There's a 4-minute pitch per startup, and then there's 5 minutes of investor Q&A. Within those 5 minutes, we are very happy to receive questions from the audience. So if you have one, please feel free to add it into the chat, and we'll put it up on screen. Obviously, we give preference to the investors that are dedicating their time to this, but they finish with their Q&A, we'll add in that question and get the startup to answer it. So without further ado, let me introduce Raquel, Niklas, and Thomas that are here from Draper B1 and Faber. And Raquel, if you'd like to get started, just presenting very quickly
Yes.
Draper B1.
Okay, thanks, Tom, for inviting me. Draper B1 is a pre-seed fund based in Spain. We have been investing in pre-seed startups for more than 15 years, and we have invested in nearly 200 companies. Now we're investing with our 4th fund, and this fund is focused in frontier tech companies, we call it. It's where the technology is the main asset. Now we are interested in industrial solutions. That's why we are here. Cybersecurity, energy, and space. But also we have a budget to invest in agnostic companies like fintech and based in AI, but always B2B solutions, okay? Our main differentiation with other Spanish funds is our international connections. We belong to an international network with headquarters in San Francisco and Silicon Valley. This network has around 20 funds around the globe. And once a year, we have a gather in San Francisco with funds of the network and their portfolio companies, which is really great for connections, insights, and international network. We say that we invest in local entrepreneurs with a global mindset. And our investment team is formed by ex-entrepreneurs. So we know how difficult it is moving from 0 to 1 and 1 to 2. So that's why when we invest, our main focus is helping startups with their go-to-market strategy. So this is what Draper B1 is, and now I'm happy to be here and see what these startups are building.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Raquel. And Niklas, Thomas, all yours.
All ours. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. And let me do the intro also on behalf of Thomas, or for both of us. Yeah, first of all, thanks for organizing this. I think it's a great, great event, in my opinion. Faber itself. So we are an early stage venture capital firm. We are based in Lisbon in Portugal. We invest across Europe generally, but we have sort of a clearer focus on startups in Iberia, so Spain or Portugal. We've been investing since 2012, roughly. Currently investing out of our third fund. We have, so far I'd say we've made more than 80 investments. We currently have around 40 active portfolio companies, generally focused rather on pre-seed to sort of pre-A stages. Occasionally, we would also invest in a Series A, but it's not our core focus. And then in terms of ticket size, we normally come in somewhere between 250 to 500 in pre-seed or seed rounds, sometimes larger, depends on whether we lead or not. But we go up to sort of 2.5 million at first ticket. And we do prefer to lead if possible, but obviously also we are flexible. It all depends on the respective opportunity. And there's one thing that sort of where we are sort of different, I would say, is that we have two different investment strategies, and we also split them into two separate investment teams. So each team manages its own fund family, has separate LP structure, separate ICs, and so forth. The first one, and that's sort of the team within which Thomas and I sit, focuses on applied science and digital transformation. We generally focus on, the entire AI tool stack, data infrastructure, computational biology and chemistry, robotics. Like Raquel, also we look at space tech, like that very much. Also, we look a lot into industrial tech in general. And generally, I think our focus would be to look for teams that develop scientific or engineering breakthroughs and kind of manage to turn that into scalable products, and then obviously into scalable companies. And I think also, as Raquel said, we also look for local teams, if possible, with a global mindset. I think that's very, very important for us as well. The second team is our climate and blue economy team. We call it Faber Blue Pioneers. That team also invests in deep tech companies, also early stage. Ticket size is also the same. The difference being that our colleagues have a very sort of narrow focus on anything related to the blue economy. And they focus on blue biotech, renewable energy, green shipping, ocean decarbonization, also ocean intelligence, food and sort of feed systems. So very broad within that vertical as well. We always say that as within the company we have two lungs, but we share one heart, and that's our back office. But yeah, so this is sort of us, I would say, roughly in a nutshell. Our team is also made up of either former founders or operators. I personally have a background in corporate venturing, joined Faber from that side. But we are very hands-on. We also love to support our founders in securing their first pilot projects, introducing them to relevant customers if possible. And I would say that's us in a nutshell.
Perfect. With the blue economy startups, you could almost add in how to get ships out of the Straits of Hormuz, I guess, these days. But
we wish.
I wish. Well, listen. So to everybody that's joined us, there's a slight change in the order of the startups today, because Laura from reLi Energy had to leave early. So I'll bring her on screen now. Just before I do that, there was a question from the audience, was how to schedule a meeting. I'd leave you to answer. I'm guessing just connect up on LinkedIn or have a look on your website. But if there's anything to add it, and if not, I'll bring Laura on screen.
I think for us, to be honest, always feel free to reach out to us directly on LinkedIn. I think that's very easy. We're very responsive. Myself, Thomas, So it's
the same to me.
Yeah.
That's an important thing that startups often don't realize, that without deal flow, we haven't got a job. So we're always interested.
We're always open to
to speak to people. Okay, well, with that, I'll bring Laura on screen. Laura, it's all yours. I'll be back on screen in 4 minutes. So when you see me on screen, it's time to stop. Okay.
Perfect, great. Hi, everyone. Did you know that Apple and Google are spending millions of euros so your phone can intelligently protect its own battery? Yet, for these large batteries that power our clean energy system, currently there is no protection. These are the same batteries that are powering our lights when renewable energies can't. And for these, only a 1% drop in battery health can cost energy operators around 1 million euros. Hi, I'm Laura. I'm the co-founder and CEO of reLi Energy, and I've dedicated my career to the energy transition. A transition that doesn't work without these batteries. A transition that is not so clean if by 2030 there'll be more than 25 million tons of batteries reaching their end of life. We're basically treating our most valuable climate assets as disposable. We know that phone makers are working so hard to make our tiny battery last a little longer. So the normal question is, why can't we do the same for these massive batteries that are powering our energy systems? Well, apparently scaling to this level requires very much knowledge and understanding of the system and a team that is expert in this. And this is the reason why I teamed up with my co-founders. Krishna has been obsessed with batteries since he was a teenager. He knows everything about degradation. And Ashish was a power trader who couldn't just keep watching companies losing millions of euros every year only because batteries were run to maximize only short-term gains. We realized that the system had a serious problem because today's software is set to maximize only today's revenues, but by destroying tomorrow's. Because no one can measure the real cost of each battery action before they operate it. While current tools right now are telling you that the battery is degraded after the damage is done, in basically just like overcharging your phone overnight basically kills the battery life, even if we have this protection built in. The same kind of thing applies to these large batteries that I'm talking about. So we want to move from reactive monitoring to proactive optimization. Basically, we want to use smarter charger and discharge cycles to extend the lifetime of the batteries and increase the revenues. So to do this, we build a patent-pending AI-powered software that can show the real cost in euros of every decision before it happens. It then connects to existing optimizing tools and automates the smartest actions, making the best decision the default one. And the result is not only extra minutes of phone life, but it's actually 3 years more in lifetime and 5 million euros in extra profits every year per project. And this is not just in theory, because we're already proving our model on multi-million euros assets from major utilities and other companies around the globe. For example, we're already working with large companies like Total Energies and EDP. And our customer we already proved that we can increase at least 10% in profitability. For reLi, one of the single large customer can actually make us generate 5 million euros in revenue. And this is an entry point into a 50 billion euros market by 2030. A market that is desperate for a new operating standard. But we're also not stopping there, because after targeting energy operators, we want to expand and by licensing our product. And we want to make sure that also other companies can directly integrate our system into their software. Making sure that we can capture the majority of the market. Right now, we're looking for 1 million euros to scale our tech and becoming the operating standard for batteries. Because the future of software won't be used, the future of energy won't be used on yesterday's software. And we're building a future where all batteries are connected and are used with intention, and all the resources lasting longer. Thank you very much.
Perfectly timed. Thank you very much, Laura. Well, Raquel, Thomas, Niklas, all yours for questions, and I'll be back again in 5 minutes.
Go ahead, you.
Okay, I have a first one maybe. Thank you very much, Laura, first of all, for the pitch. How does your competitive landscape look like, and what makes you stand out?
Yeah, the main competitors that we have. Oops, sorry, you wanted to say anything else?
No, just yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, okay. Our main competitors are analytics companies, so companies that are working in showing the data after basically the battery is operating and showing, for example, what is the state of health, the state of charge. While this is very valuable, it's not actually preventing the battery degradation and the decay in revenues. So what we do is that we go one step before. So we connect directly to the software that are operating the battery, and we tell them this is the cost of each of the actions that you want to make. So they can make a better operation and make sure that every operation that they do is the smartest option. So they're not actually operating the battery and making the battery degrade more and then reduce the revenues over time. But we go one step before and we will tell them in advance what how this will impact their revenues. So they can directly integrate it in the flows, so they don't have to look at the dashboard. It's directly integrated and automated into their flows.
Okay, I have one question about the box that you made. Can you explain a bit one of those boxes that you have done with those energy companies that you mentioned?
Yeah, you mean the pilot projects?
Yeah, the pilot. Yeah, the box. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, of course. So we had different ones. The latest one we had was with Total Energies. So this is a large utility company. Mm-hmm. And what they mainly want to know, because they have an internal trading team, they wanted to know how our algorithm would perform differently from their actually trading system. So what we did a simulation. We had a simulation in which they were using their system. And then one simulation when they were using their system with our algorithms on top of it. So we could actually see how this would change, how the batteries would trade differently. And what they saw that over 4 years, we could increase their revenue of around 11 to 12% and the battery lifetime of 16%. And these had only also some limited data that we couldn't use. So actually we can see that in a real use cases, we could get to 20%.
And does it work for any kind of battery or has?
So we're working on these large scale grid scale batteries, and it should be lithium ion for now, but in the future, we could also adapt to other chemistries.
Laura, if I may also, sorry, because we're sitting here in the same room, so yeah. Microphone management. I was curious to understand what type of signals or data that your platform is currently ingesting. So both kind of at the asset level and eventually also at the market level. Just help me understand exactly what your system is looking at currently.
Yeah, so the market level, we usually leave it directly to the customer. So we do an integration with them. So we don't have to actually see the market. So we're market agnostic. The main important data that we need is the data from the battery. So we need the current.
Sorry, I cannot seem to hear you. I don't know if it's just on my side.
No, okay, I can do it.
Okay, I think it's on my side.
Can you hear me now? Is it okay? Yeah, okay, perfect. So on the market side, they're saying like we're leaving it to the customer directly because they have all the knowledge. So we focus on the battery degradation, etc. So what we do is we collect data in real time from the battery, like temperature, current, and voltage, and then we're modeling the whole degradation on our side. We learn from the battery as it operates. So these are mainly our inputs, and then we get inputs from the customers on what kind of actions they want to make. And we will tell them the cost in euros per megawatt hour for each of the actions. But then all the market side is on them. They have all the main knowledge. And
super clear. Thank you.
And how is this set up? Once you have a customer or potential or proof of concept, how does it work?
Yeah,
in terms of time and in a certain needs and.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so once we have things in place, we have basically two main things. One, we have the connection to the battery in real time, and then we have the connection to the system of our of the operators, basically the traders. So they have a software solution, and then we provide them with an API, and they call the API every time they need our input. So this is going to be basically a real-time process in which they call the API, and we give them the data that they need in real time.
Okay.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. Thank you very much, Laura. I know you've got to run off. Well, presented. And just as a reminder to the audience, because there weren't any questions coming in, and I thought there would be on this one, you're very free to send in questions at any time and we'll get them answered. So Laura, we'll say goodbye to you, and I'll bring on Sergi from Ailoys. And Sergi, same as with Laura, I'll be back in 4 minutes. When you see me back on screen, it's time to stop.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Tom. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. So Europe is betting heavily on a critical infrastructure, data centers, energy, defense, and all of this infrastructure are being built on the machines which are 30 to 40 years old. They don't have any digitalization. 70% of this machine doesn't have any digitalization level. And our company is bringing intelligence into this machine that they can learn from the process of production they are doing. We created a very simple IoT device which can connect as a plug-and-play unit to existing machinery, make it smart, and make it learn from the existing process. And now the technology of the customer is not retiring with experienced operators. Our device is already used by the manufacturers, and today I am talking from the Wire and Tube Expo Düsseldorf. We are already represented and integrated to the 2 German and 1 Italian machine manufacturer, and our device is bringing real value. 90% of scrap reduction, 10% of electricity savings, 6.6 tons of CO2 emissions saved per year than one machine. But most important number, and I would like to concentrate your attention, it's a 50x customer ROI. Our team together have 120 years of industrial experience. We have engineers from ex-Tesla, ex-Cisco, industry veterans, software engineers, and material science experts. And in our roadmap, we started from wire drawing industry. That's why I'm Wire and Tube Expo. But then we received a pull from other industries like CNC machining, wire drawing, tube manufacturing, and welding. And a part of addressing brownfield installation, old machine. Right now, we exhibit on a new machinery booth of the German company Kieselstein. And 3 days ago, we presented the first German machine ready for AI with our platform on it. Our competition represent companies like Hadrian. They are doing dark factory in US. Vision of our company is turn to existing brownfield installations into unmanned operations, avoid dependency on operator, and go to so-called dark factories when you can switch off the light and land the production. Hadrian is not direct competitors because they build a greenfield dark factory, and Ailoys is turning any installation into the dark factory. In our funnel, we already have committed 70 devices, which is equal to 840 ARR. And just in this exhibition, with a 2,000 euro marketing budget, in the last 3 days, we booked 23,000 of monthly recurrent revenue. We are raising 2.5 million round with 500K already committed from the leading UK deep learning and AI company who just backed similar startup in the field. And with 2.5 million round, we can unlock 1.8 million ARR. That's it. Thank you for the attention, and I spare some time for additional questions. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Sergi. Guys, it's all yours for the questions. I don't know if Niklas, you'd like to start again?
Of course. Sergey, thanks a lot. Could you run me through sort of a typical installation or deployment process? What does it look like? How long does it take until you get from sort of zero to delivering value to your customer? And
Absolutely.
Also, I'd be curious to understand who within sort of, for example, the cable company, who's your buyer?
Our buyer is the people who are using the equipment, and that's the first machine presented here. The device you see, it's a one-wire connectivity. You connect it to the existing PLC. Sorry, we'll go back for the DPR reasons. And installation takes 15 minutes, no changes in the existing controller system, so you can retrofit any of the machines. And we went further now on a feedback from our devices, because we run so-called software-defined automation. The company Kieselstein already presented a first machine which is able to automatically deliver lubrication. Right now in this industry, we have a guy who putting lubrication with a big spoon, and right now it's already have automated unit. You see mixer here, which receive a signal from our device. As soon as we feel instability on the process, we can drop more lubrication. And now we're saving 5 hours of operator time per one machine. Industry volume, 200,000 installations like this, just in a wire drawing. So we can imagine the market.
And Raquel, if you don't mind, I would ask another one. Okay, cool. And what sort of unique data do you capture with your sensors, and how sort of does that over time or in future create some sort of compounding advantage or moat for your business?
Very good question. Thank you. So we do have a compound data mode because this device generates an acoustic emission signal, which is not available to any of our competition in the market. It's not a microphone per se. If you ever walk on a thin ice and heard it cracking, that's acoustic emission. When you squeeze the metal, it's radiate high frequency sound with the durations of nanoseconds, which we are picking up with our high frequency data acquisition kit. And we are running machine learning on the spot. So each installation creating a data wheel. So the customer have to understand the technology, they have to install it and collect the data, and only then they will try to compete. So basically it's a 3-layer which defends us from the competition.
And what is the state of the art of the hardware?
Sorry, Raquel, for some reason also for the previous presentation, I can't hear your voice. I don't know, I can't hear your sound.
No?
I can hear Raquel.
Do you hear me?
Maybe we can do then the...
Can you ask the question from me? I would like to know the state of the art of the device, and if it works for any type of.
Can someone repeat the question, because I can't hear it?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So Raquel was asking if you could explain the state of the art of the device.
So that's our proud. So this is the device which are capturing this signal. Per second, we're capturing 3.7 gigabyte of data, and we're using microelectronics for signal processing. So we're doing a lot of transformation, not in the central processing unit, not in the cloud, because right now the people really against the cloud with recent event in the Middle East. They want to keep everything on a spot. And you can call this device as a cardiogram for, not for your heart, but for your production. Each device becoming a black box of a certain machine. It's getting older, signals are changing with the machine duration, and machine learning algorithm here remembers. You can call it a nervous system, and then this nervous system connect through the spine, basically connectivity layer with our dataverse, with our Ailoys digital manufacturing dataverse, where we collect the signatures of the certain defects. And then seamlessly we can deploy the new machine learning models here remotely or on a place. But basically it's combined the computer and data acquisition. So all processing can happen here, can happen in cloud or hybrid.
And then I have another one. Why does, since you mentioned on the competition slide, you mentioned Hadrian and also the Siemenses of this world, why does a very well-funded scale-up or a large incumbent like Siemens not develop this themselves?
That's a very good question. So first of all, big players in industrial automation, and that's I would consider them more as our exit strategy. They are not developing in-house because the R&D and the company is too big. They are acquiring such as startups, and we have a story of ABB acquiring similar startup for 500 million euro in energy savings, also IoT device. And in order to do this, they need to create a technological unit which make no sense for them. And also the technology which we are using, it's very niche, and they still would need to fight with data wheel. They need to penetrate, they need to install it and repeat the same operations. But main reason, I think it doesn't make sense for them. It's easier for them to buy and cheaper. That's most important.
Brilliant. We've run out of minutes. Raquel, I can hear you fine as well, so I'm not sure what the problem was there.
Sorry. Sorry.
No, not at all. Sergi, good luck with the event, and thank you very much for the presentation. Great project.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'll just take you off. Bye-bye. And I'll bring on Diego. Now, Diego's video isn't running from Deduce Data, so if he happens to not be at his desk right now, I'll jump to the next one. But I'm not sure. I'll give him a couple of seconds, and if not, we would jump to Adam from SpiralWave, who is connected here. So Adam, if you could start sharing your screen then, and we'll come back to Diego later on.
All right, sounds good. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you. Sorry, we caught you unawares. So
yeah. No worries. So
here you go. Perfect. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, I will be back in 4 minutes, same as before. Okay, good luck.
Sounds good. So, hi, we are developing a new platform. It's the first integrated battery and carbon capture platform. So it's two different problems that one platform addresses. So you solve energy reliability and decarbonization with this new novel platform. So industrial companies, they face many challenges, particularly there's the decarbonization pressure and there's the energy reliability gap. So, till today, there's still not a clear way to achieve net zero. And while carbon capture promises the lowest cost, its profit structure is too much reliant on voluntary markets and on policy support. So today we have renewables as the immediate path for carbon reduction, but then you have intermittency reliability. Renewables, provide energy and they reduce carbon reduction. So they have the energy value, which, the carbon reduction comes as a byproduct. And so battery storage emerged as a solution to, hedge against this volatility. But then today you have a market saturation in batteries, which is eroding operator margins. So our solution solves the carbon dioxide profit structure and also expands the margin for battery operators. So what we do is we are introducing the carbon sink battery, which is a dynamic platform that captures CO2 while simultaneously storing electrical energy. So this allows operators to firm up renewables and decarbonize legacy assets in a one asset. And so you create two revenue streams from one asset. So you can monetize through power markets and through carbon markets from one asset. So traditionally you have a standalone battery and you have standalone carbon capture. So with this platform, you generate revenue of both from the same electrochemical cycle. So this expands the revenue stream for battery operators and expands the revenue stream for carbon capture. And so in a way that the battery profits can subsidize the revenue from the battery profits, the revenue from the battery can subsidize the cost of carbon capture and vice versa. The revenue from carbon capture can subsidize the cost of batteries. And so you have a dynamic platform, that can work whether carbon markets mature or lag and whether power markets, tie in or expand. So just to give you a technology snapshot, it's low capex design. It's a closed loop system and it works with short or multi-day storage. It's a modular and scalable architecture. So it's a simple plug and play with industrial processes, and it's composed of abundant materials. So we don't use any rare earth metals, and we don't use any membranes. And so, so it's a simple technology architecture, which allows for long lifetime with minimal operations. And there's flexible modes. You can run it as a standalone carbon capture unit, or as a carbon capture and battery unit, or as a battery unit alone. So today we have a proof of concept completed, and we have a provisional plan filed. We're testing 1,000-hour system validation with Repsol to validate the metrics of this carbon sink battery. and we're finalizing commercial pilots with different stakeholders. So our market is wide and vast. It's at the intersection of energy storage and carbon markets. It's two revenue streams, one addressable market. Today, big tech AI data centers. That's where the majority of the growth in this sector is happening. Heavy industry, utilities and renewable energy developers, and renewable fuel suppliers are also are part of our customer profile. So our team combines business, technical, and academia and industry expertise. We raised $1 million from SOSV today, and we have advisors, including the former CTO of ConocoPhillips, and we're raising $5 million a seed round to advance the product development and to build a commercial scale pilot module and secure $20 million in revenue. So yeah, all in all, our vision is to ensure energy abundance and net zero are achieved in harmony, not in lingo or in silo, and without replacing legacy infrastructure. So it's a natural plug-in, seamless system that achieves both in harmony while increasing the profits for batteries and solving the cost structure or the revenue structure for carbon capture, which is today relying on policy and voluntary markets. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Adam. I will take off your screen now, and it's time for Q&A. So I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Okay. So, I think I will ask the same question that we have been asking, like the competitive, the landscape of competitors. What do you have?
So this is the first in a new category. So it's not a pure carbon capture play, and it's not a pure battery storage play. It falls at the intersection of both. So our competitors are in both industry, but for this new specific subcategory, we're pioneering this new category.
Okay.
Thomas, you know?
Yes, please. Adam, hope you can hear me well. On the carbon capture side, I was curious to understand, maybe from your pilot Repsol, maybe from other conversations you have ongoing or your hypotheses around the market, if you're expecting your customers to be more interested just in carbon capture or also the utilization side of that, and if so, what does that mean for you and the product?
That's an excellent question. So it depends on the customer. Some customers, they are interested for purely the carbon capture play, and their priority is, can you get this below sub $100 per ton? And so for them, the main revenue, driver is the carbon price from the carbon markets and the green premium that they can sell from their products. And so on the other side, there's customers that are interested in both the energy and the carbon capture part. So such customers have renewable energy portfolio, so they're growing renewable energy assets, and they're growing a battery portfolio. So they want to stabilize their renewable energy generation and decarbonize their legacy infrastructure. So this solves both in a single platform, ensures that you have sub $100 per ton for carbon capture, and it ensures that you create a new revenue stream for the battery operations, because today in UK and Canada, in California and in Texas, the battery operator margins are collapsing because they've saturated the markets. So this is a new way for them to expand their revenue stream, and it solves the battery operator margin problem, and then it solves the decarbonization problem, and it allows for flexibility. Because you have a dynamic holistic system, so it's flexible. You can operate as a battery or as a carbon capture.
Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe if I may, just a quick kind of more technical follow-up. I was curious what happens to the capture efficiency over time when you're doing continuous operation. Does your system saturate at any point?
So the capture efficiencies remain stable. It's a closed loop process. So it's a continuous closed loop process. So yeah, it's stable.
Okay, thank you.
I'd have one question regarding scalability and also in terms of connected to fundraising. How much capital do you think the company will need over time to reach, large scale, meaning at least a meaningful deployment? beyond the initial pilots that you have now with Repsol?
So it's an incremental process. Depends on like what you define as a big company, but for us to achieve like 1,000 ton per year of carbon capture capacity, we're able to do that with the seed round of $5 million. So that gives you like an idea, a picture of how simple and low cost the design of the system is, which allows us to scale up with relatively lower capital costs.
And what sort of bottlenecks do you see with regards to scaling? And as a manufacturing side or integration or,
So we were originally a pure carbon capture play, and we realized the main bottleneck there was customer adoption is hindered by infrastructure availability, transport, and storage. So they work on the pilot side, but then for them to go to the next stage on the deployment side, there's so many different parts that need to be figured out before they're ready. So for us to hedge against that and carbon market volatility, we integrated this energy storage integration. And so it allows them to have a business case and slowly grow their carbon capture portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Adam. I'll cut you off there. And Diego's now with us, so thank you very much. And I'll bring on Diego and his screen. And Diego, all yours. I'll be back on screen in 4 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for before. I had some problems sharing the screen. So hello everyone, I am Diego Toccillo. I am the CEO and co-founder of Deduce Data Solutions. We are focused on optimization of thermal processes in industrial settings. So the energy inefficiency is not an hardware problem, it is a decision problem. 70% of industrial energy is used in thermal processes, and 30% is estimated that this is lost in heat and operational inefficiencies. This is because the recipes are in general over-dimensioned for safety margins, and the furnaces operates above the optimal conditions. Also because the key decisions are often manual and not recalculated. So the energy is treated as a cost, not as a controllable variable. So in general, to ensure quality, it's used more temperature than required, more additives than are needed, and more energy than needed. Current tools can monitor the systems, can visualize, can make reports, but in general, they not optimize the decisions. We are in 2026, so we know that artificial intelligence can be a really good ally on this kind of problems, but the limitations of our current artificial intelligence is that in general, they require a large amount of data. In general, then it breaks when the operational conditions change, and it's a black box. It cannot be used. It cannot explain its decisions. This generates operators that the operators don't trust it. The companies cannot rely on it, and so it's not the return on investment is not so big as expected. Our approach to this problem is to use informed artificial intelligence that also integrates the physical behavior of the system, so it can also work with limited and imperfect data, produce models that are intrinsically explainable in their decisions. They are more robust, more reliable, and can work even if the conditions change. So in general, how does it work? We built a thermal process twins that optimize how the process operates. we model the recipes, the thermal behavior, and the energy use. We simulate the real operational conditions, and we recommend in real time the best actions. So in order to reduce, for example, the furnace temperatures, optimize the power use, and adjust the material composition. How do we work? Well, in general, it's a three-step process where we start with a diagnostic, where we start looking at the data, identification, which are the inefficiencies, and making a causal mapping of the system. Then we integrate the data and the physical behavior in our models. We build our operational twin in order to simulate what-if scenarios. And then we give, as an answer of the actionable recommendation, continuous recalibrations, and integration with the system. All our models are based on actual cases that we develop with big companies as Nissan, Seat, Bridgestone, Reynosa Forging Casting, Siemens. So we have, in general, 2 use cases, as I said, in recipes optimization to reduce the additive while maintaining the same qualities and reducing the general material cost, and the furnace optimization. So optimize the power use to reduce the energy consumption while maintaining the same process stability.
Diego, I'm going to cut you off there before you continue. So there's more room for questions from these guys because we've gone over the 4 minutes. But but that makes it easier for Raquel, Niklas, and Thomas with their questions. So guys, it's all yours for the next 5 minutes.
I'm going to ask you about the team. You can tell us about your team.
Thank you. So we are a spin-off of the University of the university. The founder, we are all researchers or ex-researchers that we started working on artificial intelligence. In 2010, I did my PhD, and so we started as a boutique of artificial intelligence, of research and development, as a consulting on artificial intelligence for industry. Then we developed our systems, and now we are actually in the transition from consulting in artificial intelligence on building these products that are us. So we are a team of 16 people, and we are mainly all researchers, physicists, and engineers and mathematicians.
May I ask you ask a second question, because it's connected to the thing that you said about that you are transition from service to product. Because my concern was about scalability of the product, because you said that step 2 of process modeling. What is the scalability of your product right now, or what do you want to have?
Well, the product is like already, we are like in a tier L5. I mean, we already implemented our solutions in pilots, so with partners like Nissan, Seat, etc. Now we are working on a product that can be more scalable. That is a closed product. So we have the libraries, we have the models we are totally owners of the models, and now we are developing a product that has to be scalable and can be implemented in few months in the fabrics. I don't know if I answered correctly to your question.
Then Raquel, I jump in if that's okay.
Yeah.
Diego, quick question on your long-term vision. I would like to understand sort of, if everything goes well, how do you see this company develop over the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years? What's your end goal?
Well, our aim goal is to become a reference in Europe on this kind of artificial intelligence that is now part of the state of the art in academia. That's our informed artificial intelligence models, and in particular on thermal processes. So we are now trying to close our systems and protect our models in order to make this jump and to go outside of Spain and go to Europe in order to scale up our solution.
Do you want to jump in?
Yeah, maybe if I might also picking up on a couple of the different points that I understand you've done different projects with different kinds of players and different types of processes. Now you're focused on the thermal one, so I imagine that's furnaces, maybe specific type of furnace, maybe specific type of process. That's part number one of the question. And part number two is if you have deployed that. I understand you're at TRL 5, so you're still some level of ongoing development. Do you have a pipeline of deployments for that product you're focusing on now? Have you maybe tested that? I just wanted to understand a bit better where you are on that front.
Yes. Our systems are already in plant. They are working, and actually they have a ROI of about a 20% in energy saving, or even more. So, and in general, so they are working on that now. We are working on a product because they are working, but they have been developed as consulting projects integrated in their systems. We protected our intellectual properties on the project, so yeah. We are packing our solution in order to make a product, but they are totally completely working on solution.
All right. Well, we've hit the end of the 5 minutes. Was there one last question you wanted to ask, Niklas? I saw you.
Yeah, I was thinking around. Yeah, if I have time, I'd
go for it.
Tied to Thomas' question. So, I mean, there was that one slide where you had multiple different kinds of customers that you have projects with. If I remember correctly, it was Iberdrola and it's Bridgestone and what have you. So across these kind of different kinds of companies, what were sort of the biggest challenges in the deployment to these customers?
Well, the biggest challenge has been the one that then we had to solve with different problems, with different solutions. I mean, the need of large amounts of data, the fact that classical artificial intelligence models incorporate the biases from the data. So we need, for classical artificial intelligence, we need a lot of data, and if there are some problems in these data, the model doesn't work properly. So the biggest challenge has been to try to overcome this limitation. And the way that we found to do this is to integrate also not only an approach that's purely data-driven, is data-driven and also physical integrated with the physical behavior of the process. And then we tried to solve this problem, and as happy consequence of this, we have models that also needs less data and are more robust. So it has been like a process. And process started from an actual problem we have solved, and we have found that they also have other happy consequences.
Cool.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Diego. We'll say goodbye to you now. Thank you. And we'll bring on the last one, John from TrebezIA. John, I don't know if I said it right, John. If I didn't, you can say it correctly now. And I'll disappear off, and I'll be back in 4 minutes' time.
Great. Yeah, that was fine. Yeah. So hello, everyone. I'm John Añatibia, CEO and co-founder of TrebezIA Intralogistics Robots, and we're here to transform intralogistics with physical AI. What we do is we develop AI-powered mobile robots to help companies reduce costs and increase productivity in complex and highly variable intralogistics operations. Despite the fact that warehouses have invested heavily in automation over the past few years, there are still a lot of operations, about 20% of them, that are still performed manually. These are multi-product order fulfillment, product handling operations, loading and unloading tasks, which are very physical, that can cause injuries. And this type of operations generate a high workforce turnover in warehouses. So what we have developed is a mobile robot that can automate these tasks, working 100% autonomously in the warehouse. It integrates with the warehouse management systems softwares that can trigger intralogistic task operations to our robot. And our robot can navigate autonomously in the warehouse, identify the products, and perform these picking and placing operations that involve movement and complex mixed-case palletized operations. One of the key features of our robot is that the warehouse doesn't have to adapt its layout to our robot, but the robot is designed to work on the type of areas of the warehouse where currently people are performing their operations. Thanks to all the vision system and all the algorithms that we have implemented, we can identify the 3D shape of the scene and generate our trajectories collision-free with very high safety standards. Our entry-level segment is a pharmaceutical distribution. These are the warehouses that provide products to pharmacies that are in the cities, and we're performing pilots with Novaltia, for example. And our growth strategy goes from scaling to different verticals. And inside the BIND program, for example, we were selected by Uvesco to perform some trials in the supermarkets field. And we're in conversations with Feroski or Carrefour. And we see that this technology can also be applied in very different type of warehouses. There are some competitors that are in the market. There's a Norwegian company, Solver, that has a very bulky and quite slow robot that can address this type of operations. Boston Dynamics also has a robot that can perform intralogistic operations, but they have designed the product focused on optimizing loading and unloading of containers. Our solution is oriented to the type of operations where you require mobility, high productivity, and we have focused on quickly setting up the robot in a warehouse. The technology was developed inside Tecnalia, the largest private research center in Spain. My CTO and myself were involved in the development of the technology, and we started with a company in 2025. The past year, we secured 1.2 million euros in equity and grants, and we iterated over the prototype with these pilots. We are this year aiming the finalization of our product and securing a financing seed round of 6 million euros that we want to structure in a 2-tranche setup. Our goal, so the cash needs have been dimensioned to reach operational break-even by 2029 by bringing 2 innovative products to the market and scaling our sales over Europe and growing the company. So we have over 20 years of experience in robotics and in different startups, and we developed the technology from the beginning, and our goal is to take the robotics to the next level in the warehouses. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you very much, John. Okay, guys, it's all yours for the next 5 minutes.
Go, Niklas, and then I will go.
Thomas goes first.
Okay,
Thomas.
Picking up on the technology side, I wanted to understand what's kind of really the core of the IP or proprietary aspect you have as it's related to, you mentioned the vision and the navigation. I wanted to understand also on the hardware side, kind of the integration, kind of how should we think about this aspect?
Yeah, so the key differentiator of the technology that we have developed is in the software side to give this autonomy to the robot from the vision point of view and the navigation. So all the software that we have developed so that the robot can identify obstacles, products, persons to work safely in the warehouse. So we see a lot of robots performing very crazy operations nowadays with the humanoid hype. But what we have to be aware of is that we want these robots to work alongside other humans in a safe manner. And it's all the software that we have developed to make these operations 100% autonomous, but safely sharing the space with other humans.
Do you still have a human in the loop, or a human kind of overseeing a bunch of robots in the warehouse, or not?
So when the robot is working on these tasks, it can work 100% autonomously. So it has sensors, so it can stop when a human approaches, or when the robot is navigating, the robotic arm cannot move. When the robot arm is moving, the sensors are monitoring space, so it stops if someone approaches. But when it's working, it's 100% autonomous. You need human intervention in the initial setup. So you map the warehouse, you configure where the products are located. So when the robot receives an order to prepare an order of some products, it knows where to navigate to. And this is something also, so we have had a strong focus on the usability of our setup, of our product. So the client can reconfigure easily the robot, for example, if they have a change in the layout of the products. So they can do it themselves without having to call for an expert.
And Raquel, do you mind if I ask a follow-on quick one? When a client sets up the robots, does it require, in terms of navigation and for the robot to learn where products are positioned, does it require any QR codes, any beacons, anything that allows it to learn the sort of whereabouts in the warehouse? How do you train it? How do you set it up?
Yeah. So in order to build the map of the warehouse, you just have to teleoperate the robot, a bit like the Roomba in your house that you scan the places. And with the type of product that we're working right now, cardboard boxes or regular shape type of products, you don't need any specific training for the vision system because we have already trained with a great database in order to not have to retrain the system. So it doesn't need any beacon because it has sensors that detect the shape of the corridors. And as long as they don't put a lot of obstacles in the path or change the layout, they don't need to reconfigure the robot.
Okay, cool.
Okay. No, I was going to ask because you have your solution is a robot with the capex. That means capex, and because we have been analyzing different startups that solves this problem, but what they are doing or what we have seen is that the approach is different because they are like transforming existing robots, not a new one, with AI. Existing robots into a more functional robots, adapting its software to new needs. So how are you going to face these kind of solutions without CapEx?
Yes, so this is a very good question. We cannot do this right now, like refurbish existing robots, because we're targeting operations that are nowadays performed manually, right? So they don't have a robot in this part of the warehouse. The capex problem, of course, these are investments that the clients have to do. We have built our business model with two different approaches. One is upfront sale, and another one is robot as a service. So in the robotics world, we are also talking about leasing schemes to commercialize the solution. So with some of the potential clients that we've talked, they are happy to buy the robot upfront, but in some other sectors, it will have to go like in a robot as a service type of scheme. In the pharmaceutical sector, for example, because they are already used to do heavy investments in technology, because they already have a high degree of automation for all the drug handling part of the warehouse. So it's a type of client that are happy to invest in technology, right? But in some other verticals, we see that we will have to go through a robot as a service type of scheme in order to reach our clients.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much for that, John. And thank you, Raquel, Thomas, and Niklas. We've now finished with the
Thanks
5
to you, Tom.
startups.
Thank you, John.
No, great to have you. Great session. Great startups. And just for those that are still connected here at the end of the session, we will be back in 3 weeks' time with some other with Plug and Play and Luma Labs and some other startups. Some same, some new ones. So if you connect up on the 8th of May at 12 o'clock, here we'll be. So with that, have a great weekend, everyone, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Bye.